The five expenses I avoided while in debt were vehicle expenses, new phones, eating out, clothing, and subscriptions. I'm going to tell you how not having those expenses helped me to expedite my journey to pay off my debts. Welcome to Finish First Financially, a channel dedicated to helping millennials and Gen Z to get out of debt and build savings. I'm Goran Radanovic. For most people, their three biggest expenses are housing, food, and transportation. And not having the transportation cost enables them to dedicate so much money to paying off other debts, which is exactly what happened for me. I couldn't make my monthly payments on my car because I had no income and my car eventually got repossessed. And though I still owed, even though I didn't physically have the car, I still owed a portion of the vehicle finance, which is what I paid off first. I wanted to get that out the way. And once I paid it off, I didn't substitute that repossessed car with another vehicle. So I didn't have the monthly car payments. I didn't have to pay for gas, repairs, licensing, and all these other expenses that come along with car ownership. And that's one of the reasons that I harp on so much about not having a car if possible, or only having it if you're going to generate an income with it, such as providing taxi services or deliveries. Otherwise, having vehicle finance is a bad thing, especially considering that the average car payment in America in 2022 was $500 per month for a used vehicle and $700 for a new car. That's a tremendous amount of money that people can dedicate to other debt. So, if possible, to sell the vehicle finance car so you no longer have the loan on the vehicle and buy a used vehicle for $3,000. And that is possible. There are plenty of reliable cars that can get you around for that amount of money. So for me, not having that expense just freed up so much money to dedicate to the consumer debt. New model phones. For some reason, many people have an obsession with having the latest phone, and they spend a tremendous amount of money every single year on getting the latest model. And I've never really understood this. I mean, I've got a Samsung phone, which I bought in 2020 for $100. I paid cash for it at a shop, no financing. I don't take out contracts. I don't believe in debt. And it works fine. It can pretty much do everything that a $1,000 phone can do. So why would I need that expensive phone when I can just spend $100 and keep this phone for several years? It doesn't make sense. It's like somebody told these people that they need to have the latest model phone or they're going to die. And the latest phone doesn't really have many new features than the previous year's phone. So I don't understand this entire obsession with having the latest phone. By not having to buy a new phone every single year, I saved so much money. And this phone was relatively cheap and still a good phone. Okay, it needs a new battery, but otherwise it's served me for the last couple of years. And I'm so grateful that I didn't go down that road of buying new model phones every single year. Eating out was another expense that I avoided. It was just not an option at all. I didn't go out to buy food. I didn't order food in. I strictly bought groceries. And if you want to do yourself a favor, for 1 month, just track your eating out expenses and your takeouts, and then make a commitment for the second month to completely eliminate those expenses and just buy groceries. Cook your food at home, and then compare those two expenses for the eating out and the groceries. And you'll find that the groceries bill is likely to be half of your eating out bill. And you've got time to spend at home with your family eating usually healthier food than what you would going out to a restaurant or picking up at a fast food joint. So that was definitely a major expense that I avoided, which helped me to dedicate more money to the debt. And sometimes you'll even find people who are eating out. They, for some reasons, they feel the need to get a new outfit because they might be going to a fancy restaurant. Which brings me to the fourth expense, clothing. While I was in debt, I bought one pair of jeans. I think they were maybe $18 or $19. And I wore those jeans every single time that I went out for the next 4 or 5 years. That was it, just one pair of jeans. And not one person came up to me and said, "Oh, why are you wearing the same pants all the time?" And even if they did, so what? Who cares? If a billionaire like Steve Jobs could wear the same clothing every single day and not care about what others thought of him, why do you care? Why is it that you need to have new clothing often? And I bought very cheap shirts. They were about $10, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And I wore that for a couple of years as well. And that was it. That was all the clothing that I had. Because I knew that clothing can be an exorbitant expense. And if I avoid it, I've got more money to dedicate to paying debt. And that was all that I was focused on. Not about what other people were going to think of me wearing the same clothing. You don't need to buy clothes every second month. You don't even need to buy clothes every year. If you buy decent, good clothing, it can last you a while. And don't worry about wearing the same things often. It's fine. And then the last expense that I absolutely avoided was subscriptions. Video streaming services, I didn't have at all. I wasn't interested in that. Some people even have subscriptions to these apps where they pay so that they avoid the adverts. I didn't care about that. And people might say, well, that expense is only $10 here, $5 there. It's really insignificant. Well, first of all, little expenses add up and they can be a significant amount. And secondly, the most important thing to do is get into the saver mentality, develop the habit of saving. Because if you cannot manage $10, I give you $10, and the first thing that you do is take out a subscription for a video streaming service, then how can I trust you to manage $1,000? You haven't proven to manage a small amount. Why would I trust you to manage a big amount? And that's extremely important to do. Start with the smallest amount. Prove that you're able to delay gratification. And in this case, meaning that you are not going to spend on stupid things until you're out of debt. Prove that first so that you can have more money later. So those were the 5 expenses that helped me. There were others, because I lived a minimalist lifestyle that I also didn't have in my budget at all. But I think those were the main 5, the 5 biggest expenses that I avoided that helped me to go from homeless and being $40,000 in debt to paying off that debt and then building up $50,000 in savings. And that's what I can do for you. If you come onto the channel, I can show you how to lower your expenses so that you've got more money to dedicate to your debts. Get in touch with me at finishfirstfinancially@gmail.com, and let's have you on the show so that we can put you on the path to financial freedom ASAP.